And that's just the way life is. It's not nothing that you're doing wrong. It's not nothing that nobody's doing wrong. Just don't be afraid to make mistakes, because there's always a lesson in it. What's up, YouTube? It's Credit Guy Frank here, coming to you today with yet again another video. All right, y'all already know how I do it. I get straight to it. But first, guys, like always, I want to let you guys know to comment, like, subscribe, man. And if you know anybody who could benefit from these videos, definitely send them these videos. All right. I help a lot of people. I talk about a lot of different things, from personal credit, business credit, credit cleaning, whether you want to do it yourself. I can also do it for you. So if you need my services, if you need anything, contact the number in the description. And don't forget to leave comments as far as any different videos that you would like to learn or anything like that. I'm extremely knowledgeable about a lot of different subjects, especially when it comes to making money. All right. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get to it. So look, today I want to talk to you guys about the NAICS codes, okay? And what that stands for is the North America Industry Classification System, all right? Sounds complicated, but let me break it down. Now check this out. This code is a code for businesses, okay? Now, a lot of you guys, especially when we're opening up businesses and things like that, you all are worried, saying like, well, I heard that this is a high-risk industry, or this is that, right? Now, I just want you just to understand this simple fact about business, and the simple fact about kind of like what's going on in the world in general, okay? Because everything is really about understanding. All right. It's not that you're scared of it. You just really don't understand it, and you're going off of what you heard. OK, don't go off of that. Do your own research. And then when you jump in the field, understand like what's going on. You cannot understand what's going on if you're full of fear with everything that you do. You got to understand, when you take losses, or if you take losses, or when things happen, you got to look for that lesson in that, because don't allow it to happen in vain. Don't allow something to happen to you and you like, oh, I ain't gonna never do that again. But you don't know why, right? You don't know where you went wrong, so that you can right your wrongs, because guess what? It will come back again. All right. So understand that. And that's just the way life is. It's not nothing that you're doing wrong. It's not nothing that nobody's doing wrong. Just don't be afraid to make mistakes, because there's always a lesson in it. All right. So check this out. When you're dealing with banks, and when you're dealing with businesses and things like that, okay? There is no such thing as called a high-risk industry, all right? There's no such thing called a high-risk industry. The truth of the matter is, banks buy homes, okay? Banks buy homes. So a lot of people tell you real estate is a high-risk industry. A lot of people will tell you credit is a high-risk industry. And a lot of people will tell you trucking is a high-risk industry. And what they mean by this is they don't want to lend you or give you money because of this industry, all right? Now, the excuse is, we're just looking at it to classify different information and things like that, so that they can understand what's going on, all right? But what's really going on is they don't want any competition, okay? So if I do credit, all right, and I'm making sure that you have a nice credit score so that your APR isn't out the roof, guess who that goes against? That goes against the banks, guys. That goes directly against what they're trying to do. You can't walk in a bank and get no good information. You can't walk in the bank and they're going to teach you how to get 50,000. You can't do it. Why? Because they ain't on your side. You can't go to Bank of America and take out a loan to invest in Bank of America. Make that make sense, all right? And the reason that you cannot do that is because they operate solely off of having high APRs so that they can make their money, okay? They make a lot of money off late payments. They make a lot of money off of a lot of different things. They make over $5 billion off of just unauthorized transactions. You ever had an account that was at like 17 cents or 63 cents, and then all of a sudden you had a negative balance for something goofy, like that wouldn't have came out at no other time, but because it knew that you had a low amount of money in there, then it put you in the negatives. So now they can keep charging, all All right, they make a lot of money off of these things, guys. They make a lot of money off of late payments. They make a lot of money off of high APRs. When you're going to get cars, when you're going to get cards, when you're going to get homes, when you want to do a lot of different things, guess who you got to go through? The bank. So this is why they don't want you in the trucking industry, okay? Because you're their competition. So if I'm Bank of America, just using them for example, or if I'm a bank in general, let's not single out Bank of America, but if I'm a bank in general, okay, and I invest in homes and things like that, and I make money off of people losing their homes, because think about it, that's what they do, all right? They'll give you a loan for a home, and then if you do right by that, they'll give you another loan. They'll give you another loan. You want to know why? Because they understand one thing. At some point in time, you're going to go through a hardship. You're going to go through a hardship at some point in time. So you can put that 20% down. You can put all that money down. And then guess what? Whether it's 1 home, 2 homes, 3 homes, guess who's going to come and get all of that equity out of there? Because most people don't even have a good enough credit score to go and get the equity that's actually in their home. So if you were to lose it, or if you were to have a tragic event, which most people are going to have a tragic event, like let's just be clear. If that were to happen, or when that happens, guess what? They get everything free and clear, or they get everything with the equity. And the banks ain't got to ask themselves for a credit score to go ahead and get the money out of the home. They don't have to do that, right? So understand that. In trucking, it's the same thing. They don't want you in trucking. That's a nice big industry. And it's really, really nice when you got a big bag. I'm talking 18 wheelers, because one of those tires pop, that's $400. Trust me, I know, okay? So you have to understand all of these things. And like I was saying, in credit, they ain't gonna try to make it give me a loan so I can go and help people and things like that. Like, why would they do that? They don't want to do that because they're somewhat our enemy. That's why I don't feel bad knowing how to crack the code. I don't feel bad understanding their systems so I can use their systems against us, because if I don't, they just gonna use it against me. And that ain't happening. Not over here. Y'all can let that happen to y'all. Y'all can walk around with bad credit scores. Y'all can walk around with thin files, and y'all can walk around with all. Listen, we gonna get that money on, all right? That's why I'm so serious about this, because you don't understand. Every day you wake up, everything out here is out to get you. And it's gonna get you. Like, let's just be clear. It doesn't matter if you want it to happen, if you don't want it to happen. It doesn't matter. Unless you're trying to live out on the street and you don't need nothing, it's gonna get you. So it's best for you to understand who's what. And I'm not trying to say they're your enemy either. But what I'm just saying is they ain't your friend. I know me being credit guy Frank, I ain't with this LLC, I ain't going to the bank trying to get no money. For what? Number one, I'm way past that. I really don't need it. But number two, it's like, I already know the game. All right? If you see me helping people, you see me doing this and doing that, I'm going against everything you stand for. So instead of being able to charge this person 17%, you're going to be able to charge them 3%. They don't want that. They want the 17% because most people are uninformed. All right? They don't want you to have a nice APR to go get that home. Why? Because it goes against their will. It goes against everything that they're trying to do. The whole reason, I bet you guys didn't know this. The whole reason homes really was invented was for the collateral in the banks. Now, when you have a bank and you have a collateral, because there's not a big enough collateral than homes. Like, it's the biggest collateral you can possibly have, right? So when you tie both of those together, that's how the banks got so rich, guys. That's how the banks got so rich. That's why they putting you in a 5-bedroom home and it's just 2 or 3 of y'all. Don't even make sense. All right? But guess what? They know you're going to pay that down, you're going to pay that down, you're going to pay that down. Oh, and you got a high APR. So what happens is you really paying for like 2 homes. You really paying for like 2 cars. Let me tell you how. You got a 17% APR. All right? Let's just use an example, because a car may cost $50,000, a home may cost $150,000. Really more than that, but I just want to keep it, just kind of dumb it down. All right. So look, 17 to really, sometimes people be 22% APR. It'd be higher than that sometimes, right? But look, we're just gonna go with 15, 20%. Out of that 100,000, right? You gotta pay an extra 20%. That's 20,000. All right. Now you got a 30-year term. In that 30-year term, it's gonna go up 1% every year, minimum. All right. So you do the math on that 30 years. Anybody that's smart, if you got a crib and you want to pay it off, you should pay it off in 15 years. Okay. But most people can't do that because most people are in places that they cannot afford. Understand the game. All right. Now, you at, like I said, APR 15 to 20%. Cool, 100,000. Now that's 20,000 that you got to pay extra. All right. On top of that, you really paying for most of the interest first. Like the first 10, 15 years, you're paying interest. That's it. So you're not even building equity at this point. Only time you can build equity is when you know how to negotiate before you even go in there. All right. But it also goes up 1% property value every year. So in a 30-year term, that's another 30%. So now you're already at 150,000. Just for an example, as for a home, and ain't nothing even break down in it yet. You ain't pay for no expenses yet. So imagine you somewhere where you can't even afford, and unbeknownst to you, everything is moving ahead of you. All right. So this is the games they're playing. That's why I tell you guys, listen, get your credit right and learn how to get your credit right. Learn how to help other people. I don't care how hard it is. You ain't got nothing else to do. You working the same job or you just doing nothing. So you might as well add these type of skills to where you can at least learn how to maneuver, because like I tell you guys, money is about to be obsolete as you know it, as cash. Because listen, money started as big blocks of gold. And then they couldn't carry that. Then they shaved it down. And you had the coins. Then you had the paper dollars. All right? Then you had the credit card. Swipe, no numbers. Then you got the numbers. Then you got the chip. And then, of course, you had checks and stuff like that before that. But stay with me, all right? You got the chip. Where we at now? You pay with your phone, right? So we clearly going to the internet. Guys, pay attention. Pay attention. It's Credit Guy Frank here coming to you today with another video. I'm out.